The Jeruva spire pierced the thin atmosphere of Cygnus Delta 19 like a black needle, its obsidian skin alive with messages in 100 wavelengths. From orbit, it resembled a monument, but every awakened navigator in consortium space knew it was a courtroom, one that rarely invited spectators younger than 1,000 star cycles. Yet on this raw morning, a Terran corvette bucked atmospheric shear and dropped its landing fins beside the spire's basalt apron. Inside the vessel, Commander Amaya Ortiz, 32 standard, and once a maintenance diver in Pacific Arcology 5, tugged at gloves still tacky from coolant leaks. Her mission brief was absurd. Attend an arbitration whose agenda listed unsolved traversal of zero physics rift and petition for experimental mortal conveyance. Officially, she was an observer. Unofficially, she was the only living being who had ever come back whole from a 6-minute cardiac flatline in vacuum during the Eurydice station breach. The Alliance judged that experience relevant. A glass helix descended to meet her. Its interior gravity changed every 3 steps, first heavier than Earth, then lunar, then weightless, accommodating ambassadors of water, methane, and crystal. Amaya's boots clamped to the floor as needed, the electromagnetic saws borrowed from an emergency engineering kit. She entered the arbitration galleria blinking at 1,000 architectural non-sequiturs. Aquamarine trenches for the Pharrellian envoys, a spiraled perch of quartz needles for the Craxian sages, Nulgi bubbles where Nevillian gas forms drifted like lazy constellations. At the focus, an impossibly thin rift hovered, no bigger than a doorway, yet ringed by caution glyphs that screamed hazard in every language. It was midnight black, rimmed with violet flickers that phased in and out of perceptibility. Pure void, the notes said, 63 meters of reality collapse preceding a newborn section of galaxy flush with habitable worlds. 17 attempts, 17 total losses. Presiding Arca-Speaker Loom, a being of translucent sand caught in perpetually shifting electromagnetic nets, addressed the assembly in measured pulses. Observers from Terra are granted voice. A swirl of light indicated Amaya should approach. Unease rippled as she stepped onto the centripetal dais. The Craxian representative's mandibles clicked. The Lithian cluster rearranged facets to mirror suspicion. Humans were latecomers. They built star sails out of repurposed fusion scrap, while others forged wormhole symphonies. But it was precisely that scrapyard desperation consortium now eyed. Amaya patched her wrist slate into the chamber relay. A recording unfolded, first-person feed from her Eurydice accident. Hull breach, torrent of Opmo, her body tumbling into raw cosmos, hearts down freeze at -270 degrees Celsius, Lazarus nanites igniting, pulseless minutes stretching into improbable revival. A hush settled. The Methan Saurian delegate hissed. Terra's methods flirt with necromancy. Terra's methods exploit biological latency, Amaya corrected. Our cell mitochondria stall, but pathways memorize their last state. We don't fight death. We treat it as maintenance downtime. Gasts in 9 timbers. She continued. Consortium probes failed because they fought the Rift's zero physics pocket. They attempted consistent environmental control. We propose an inverse algorithm. Permit systemic shutdown, cross as information, reboot on exit. Arca-Speaker Loom's netting brightened. A living courier acting as decoherence-tolerant payload. Exactly. We call the protocol Thanatonaut. Screens flared with schematics. A slender coffin pod lined with phase change gel, neural stasis braids at spine. Chemical sequencers poised to flood cells with preservative foam as soon as pressure vanished. No energy shielding beyond a thin ablative shell. Nothing to betray the Rift's unpredictable physics because the occupant would not resist them. Debate ignited. War matriarchs dismissed the module as barbaric. Nevillian elders wondered if consciousness restored after total interpolation remained original. Amid contention, a quiet harmonic drifted from the Lithian dais. Their prime facet rotated. Prisms shimmering. Crystals remember pressure, but welcome cleavage to grow. Terra's plan echoes that mineral wisdom. Let them test. A vote ensued. 1 per polity weighted by Treaty Clause 43. Result: 8 in favor, 10 abstain, 5 oppose. Marginal approval. Conditions attached. Mission funded solely by Terra and volunteer species. Failure exonerates consortium of liability. Success yields shared corridor rights. But Terra receives first-touch claims on any planetary system within Zero Physics Region Alpha for 5 standard cycles. Some envoys gasped as Clause 3 scrolled. Essentially, the galaxy's prime real estate would open under human stewardship if they lived through the crossing. Amaya bowed, concealing a tremor of adrenaline. She'd expected this stage to take months. The desperate needed miracles quickly. Assembly of the Thanatonaut core. Back aboard Earth's battered Moonworks yards. Welders in patchwork EVA suits labored under solar glare. The prototype transit coffin, Pete 1, took shape from ceramic lattice and memory alloys scavenged from orbital junk. Inside, the Revenant frame integrated microdynamo pumps tied directly to wearer's cardiac conduction. When the heart stopped, dynamo spin would store the last electromagnetic signature, ready to kickstart once molecules thawed. Volunteers flooded the program. Ex-miners from Valles Marineris, Pacific free climbers who scaled elevator tethers for fun, war veterans craving purpose. Medical boards rejected 90%, psych profile failure, or mitochondrial anomalies. Final roster, 12. None older than 35, all with prior episodes of clinical death followed by full recovery. A curious data point flagged by psychologist Dr. Kiera Stepanoff. Amaya, by necessity and precedent, would serve as lead Thanatonaut. She studied each recruit. Jorge Silva, Brazilian spelunker whose heart once stopped after nitrogen narcosis. Aisha Khalid, North African desert racer struck by lightning twice. Haruto Mizuno, orbital salvage tech infamous for spacewalks without tether. Eden Ring, deaf biochemist who built the preservative foam formula and insisted on flying inside it. Across training weeks, they practiced induced hypothermia drills, meditative heart rate suppression, and revival choreography. Consortium observers filmed, analyzing grimly. In parallel, a civil media storm raged on Earth. Supporters celebrated a chance to leapfrog into cosmic relevance. Opponents decried the plan as state-sanctioned suicide. The Sovereign Earth League, still bruised after earlier setbacks, staged holo broadcasts claiming the consortium used humans as crash dummies. Paradoxically, Sun-UPS rose. Nothing rallied humans like being told not to try. First window. Astronomers at Lagrange H beacon tracked the rift's pulse cycle. Every 9 hours the violet fringe widened by 2 cents then receded. Modeling forecast a 73-minute window when mass shear would be minimal. If minimal meant the pod wouldn't shred within microseconds, but within whole seconds. Launch pad, long-shot station, a hastily refitted cargo pier slinging asteroids. Inside, Ping 01. Amaya listened to her slow heart under sedation as Dr. Stepanoff prepped cerebro-ice microinjection. Cold travel, warm return, the doctor whispered. Amaya replied, "We crossed the river Styx tax-free." Magrails fired. The coffin shot into star-speckled black, a silver seed toward a wound in space. Telemetry streamed for 20 seconds, then flatlined as expected, null zone. In mission control breaths held. Silence stretched 30 minutes, 40, 60. Journalists typed obituaries in advance. 73rd minute. A telemetry ping, faint but alive. Oxygen micropumps online, hearth rhythm at 40 per minute rising. Capsule hull temperature creeping upward, internal gel thawing. Aisha's voice crackled first. Smells like ozone and victory. Signals cascaded, ringing across Earth, across consortium nets. 12 humans had died and 12 revived beyond the rift. But data relayed from Aisha's suit overshadowed the triumph. Star charts impossible from this side of galaxy. A green-gold planet orbiting twin suns only $0.30 away. Habitable readings. Oceans glistening. Cheers erupted. Stocks in Terran asteroid firms tripled by midnight. The UN fast-tracked the Pioneer mandate proclaiming joint stewardship with consortium oversight. Yet to Amaya, floating above a newborn world, something felt wrong. Her visor HUD flickered with ghost diagnostics, cells replicating borderline too efficiently, neural lags measuring below baseline. You went somewhere no physics could touch, a thought whispered in her memory. What if physics forgot how to reclaim you? A new frontier, a hidden toll. Within weeks supply drones ferry domes, rovers, seed vaults across the rift, guided by Thanatonaut Core shuttling as living beacons. Human colonists named the planet Hestia, a hearth for cosmic wanderers. Consortium delegations landed as well, erecting research pylons near the equator. Agricultural scouting parties reported soil perfect for Terran wheat, but seed growth accelerated at triple rate. Eidolon flux residue? Biologists logged anomalies, mitochondria hyper-efficient, but telomeres eroding faster. Pediatricians noted newborn mice matured in half-normal days yet died weeks later. The rift passage altered entropy locally. Amaya convened a multidisciplinary task force. Lithian geochemists traced cause to microfractures and quantum constant. Life backfed energy to repair space-time, aging in process. In other words, Hestia thrived by spending life hours like fuel. Consortium argued to halt colonization until solution. Earth governments under resource pressure refused. Media hailed golden harvest yields. Directors hedged stories of mice. Thanatonauts bore brunt. Each crossing now felt heavier. Revival headaches lengthened. Blood panels mutated. Eden Ring admitted to nightmares where her body melted back into gel. Sophie Diop, serving remote as linguist analyst, uncovered an ancient architect glyph set inside Rift's pulse. Toll gate. They hadn't discovered a shortcut. They'd pried open a failsafe meant to tax vitality for cosmic travel. High debate erupted in Jeruva Spire. Some worlds demanded closure. Others proposed rotating butcher's bill among species. Amid politicking, sovereign Earth zealots seized a transport, threatened to nuke rift gates unless Earth monopoly restored. Amaya led a hostage reclamation, neutralizing terrorists, but casualties among consortium envoys reignited distrust. The Alliance threatened to revoke corridor rights. Humans countered with threat of self-destructing rift infrastructure, stranding everyone. Deadlock loomed, until Eden collapsed from acute cellular burnout, her 29-year body now biologically 54. Autopsy on earlier rodent studies confirmed. Each crossing extracted roughly 0.07% lifespan, compounding. Humanity's dream of cosmic courier empire carried hidden terminal debt. Architect Echo. Desperate, Amaya sought deeper readings. She led a 3-person into the rift's neutral center, this time with instrumentation tuned to emotional valence. At no moment an echo manifested, a lattice of light building a humanoid silhouette. Not void, not natural phenomenon, an architect AI ghost. It communicated in archetypes. The path you seek requires gift and return. It showed visions of star civilizations undone by similar shortcuts. The gift, entropy absorption crystals lying atop Hestia's sister moon, able to redirect the toll from biological to mineral substrate. The return, deactivate human exclusivity, let all sapients share corridor under strict harmonic quotas. Amaya recorded patterns, returned through toll again, losing another slice of existence. Consortium stunned but agreed to expedition. Joint teams mined crystals, forged resonant vaults along rift margins. Pilot runs showed Thanadonaut cells stabilized, lifespan lost negligible. Corridor salvageable. But sovereign Earth radicals sabotaged one vault, crystals ruptured, releasing entropy surge that aged an entire research camp to dust within an hour. Outrage swept galaxies. Trial ensued, this time no exile, life sentences in stasis. The fiasco spurred final accord, Hestia Compact. All crossings required dual crews, human and non-human, life toll routed into vault crystals which periodically vent into star plasma. Access governed by rotating councils. Amaya, gray-haired at 33 yet alive, stood on Hestia's red leaf bluff as first balanced convoy folded through, leaving violet swirls overhead. Children of Earth and Craxia chased drone kites amid crops now growing at safe rates. Admiral Vorch arrived, crystalline plates bearing witness lines. Consortium predicted you'd gorge on Frontier until collapse. You surprised us again by limiting yourselves. Amaya chuckled, weary. We learned legacy means more than expansion. Even death isn't final unless we waste it. He tilted faceted skull. And the impossible challenge? Still impossible, she said, gazing at Rift's shimmer. We just redefined its boundaries. Far above, the toll gate pulsed gently, counting lives spared instead of drained. Somewhere beyond Mapstar's ghost architects watched, perhaps amused that young mammals had cracked open their lock and chosen stewardship over conquest. And in quiet corridors of Jeruva Spire, new petitions queued, not for quarantines, but for shared missions where dying briefly on the way became just another ticket stamped in the ledger of cosmic persistence. Seasonal storms rolled across Hestia's equatorial plains, carrying orange dust that glimmered where entropy absorption vaults vented excess quantum decay into upper air. Children loved the spectacle, glowing flurries like slow fireworks, but environmental monitors ticked warnings and muted yellow. Each vent cycle shortened the planet's magnetic half-life by fractions, a manageable cost on quarterly schedule yet worrisome if the pace accelerated. Commander Amaya Ortiz, newly appointed steward of the Hestia Compact, watched jade lightning dissect evening clouds and felt the violet key, now carried inside a skin graft behind her sternum, vibrate with uneasy resonance. 6 months had passed since the vault network balanced the rift's deadly toll, and progress appeared steady. Agricultural grids fed 3 joint colonies. Consortium science posts mapped fauna whose DNA danced between Terran and Architect templates. And Thanadonaut relays ferried diplomats weekly without further cellular attrition. On paper, the frontier thrived. Off paper, cracks spidered. Reports from the Vault Node V7 described anomalous entropy spikes not matching scheduled vending. Lithian overseers logged unauthorized data downloads just before the search. Surveillance shards glimpsed unidentified drones, their silhouette eerily reminiscent of sovereign Earth tech but coated in stealth polymer of Architect provenance. The sabotage scare revived old nightmares. What if radicals harnessed vault energy as a weapon? Amaya summoned Eden Ring, now lead biochemist of residual systems, to review flux logs. Eden arrived with Kane, her joints still prone to accelerated wear from early crossings, but mind keener than ever. She overlaid waveforms against solar wind indices, then frowned. Spike's signature contains a repeating seed. Looks like a biometric hash. She tapped amplitude notes. Yours. Amaya's pulse jumped. Impossible. My genetic patterns are locked in medical vaults. Unless someone scraped them during your medical debriefs aboard Jeruva. Eden zoomed deeper. The hash wasn't static. It evolved across 5 hours, as if adapting to feedback. Countermine protocol mandated immediate Lithian consultation. Shard Glim, now Earth's perpetual partner in oversight, analyzed entropy drain and produced a startling hypothesis. Vault crystals, powered by Eidolon matter, unconsciously mirrored the resonance of individuals most attuned to the rift. Amaya and the original Thanadonaut still carried higher flux density, If someone cloned their patterns or worse, attempted to imprint them onto foreign biosubstrate, the vault would accept the new owner and funnel stabilizing energy accordingly, effectively handing them a star-sized battery. That night, a calm burst hit the Hestia network, low band, no encryption, a manifesto from an entity calling itself the Riftborn Covenant. The hollow projection showed masked figures, one human voice, one Craxian click speech, one Ferellian warble. They claimed to be children of the in-between, survivors of illicit, prolonged crossings that left them partially phase-shifted. They demanded control of 3 vaults to complete humanity's evolutionary promise, and threatened to collapse vent gates into supercritical cascade unless negotiations began within 8 days. Consortium security heads wanted martial blockade. Lithian pacifists urged dialogue. The Urn War Matriarchy offered to fleet glass the rift entirely, closing corridor but dooming colonies. Amaya proposed a third path: locate Covenant's hideout and retake biometric seed before ultimatum. Sensor triangulation placed Covenant transmissions within Hestia's second moon, LYR, specifically the lava tube labyrinth closed after initial survey. Thanatonaught Corps prepped a strike team: Amaya, Jorge Silva, Haruto Mizuno, and 2 Craxian Rangers whose exoskeletons handled subterranean heat. Countermines paired remotely. Eden stayed topside to monitor biological telemetry. They inserted via kinetic dart, drilling through basalt crust into humid tunnels lined with crystals pulsing faint violet, the vault lattice's long fingers. Deep inside, they encountered constructs, humanoid shells of gel and metallic bone, each containing microvault seeds flickering with stolen flux. The constructs did not attack. They simply stood, humming a lullaby that thrummed inside skulls. Haruto's neural HUD flashed migraine warnings. Craxian Ranger's mandibles twitched in dissonance. The lullaby carried mixed genetic code: human, Craxian, Ferellian stitched with architect sequences. Covenant spokesperson emerged, a translucent figure phasing between genders, features shifting like heat shimmer. Voice layered male and female. "We are the middle breath," it said. "Your charter cage's potential. We will open the gate fully. No toll, no decay." Amaya kept carbine lowered. "You're accelerating vent cycles. You'll burn Hestia's core in decades." "The planet is an egg," the Riftborn replied. "Crack it, and the Phoenix climbs free." Negotiation snapped when Jorge detected countdown beacons near structural struts. Vault feedback loops primed to invert, releasing entropic charge into Moon's mantle. Team split. Craxians cut through biomatter constructs with chitin blades while Haruto hacked seed control lines. But the constructs reknit, borrowing flux. Amaya realized conflict fed them. Each wound bled energy they lapped like nectar. She switched tactics. Microphone amplify heart-steady beat, broadcasting Thanatonaught biopattern phase inversion. As her pulse echoed, constructs froze. Their lattice required synchronous resonance. They couldn't process disharmonic source. Haruto isolated Master Seed, a sphere of Eidolon crystal etched with Amaya's stolen genome, removing it wrist blowback. He instead mirrored null signature, empty genome, onto Seed, tricking network into safety mode. Countdown halted. Constructs slumped, dormant. Covenant figure screamed, body destabilizing between spectral and flesh, then imploded into static, leaving behind shards of biologic matter fused with vacuum frost. Rangers secured site. Eden's SurfaceNet confirmed vent spikes ceased. Post-raid analysis uncovered Covenant's origin. Survivors of Vault's sabotage who'd experienced partial phase shift and built new ideology around transcendence through permanent rift exposure. They'd used archived medical scans, including Amaya's, stolen by sovereign sympathizers. The plot deepened rifts of trust. Earth's Senate demanded full authority over personal data. Consortium demanded joint biometric oversight. Only one body remained unaligned. The architect AI Echo encountered inside Null Zone. Diplomatic risk soared, but Amaya and Shard Glim recommended contacting the Echo for guidance. Echo Parley. Thanatonaught Trio performed controlled death transit carrying a quantum slate loaded with balanced charter legal code and a multi-species mimetic plea. At Null Zone midpoint, Violet Vacuum birthed the light lattice figure again, sharper now, facets swirling. "What you ask demands reversal of seed purpose," the Echo intoned. "Vaults are stoppers for pressure bottle. Overvent will rupture cosmic seam." Amaya presented Covenant incident. "We need failsafe that doesn't rely on single-species biometrics." Echo considered. "Fractal limbs folding." Solution: propagate polyresonant tokens, encoded with average biosignature of entire compact. Vault obeys quorum, not individual. Feasible? Asked Shardglem. Requires deep weave of living code. All signatory species must contribute neural essence and harmonic converge. Risk: if one withdraws, tokens default to dormancy, sealing rift forever. Back at Hestia, the proposal ignited furious negotiation. Some polities feared handing DNA to rivals. Others feared permanent closure if politics soured. But Covenant insurrection proved dangers of singular key. After marathon session broadcast to billions, representatives consented. Ceremonies spanned Hestia's tri-sunrise. Each delegate placed a drop of cerebrospinal or photon membrane or crystal dust onto an eidolon wafer that absorbed and harmonized patterns. During infusion, participants shared brief television glimpses into each other's ancestral memories, a side effect that shattered prejudices faster than centuries of trade. Akraxian elder saw Terran childhood under smog-pink dusk. Human junior ambassador felt Forellian oceans crushing compassion. Lithian shard glimpsed earned funeral drumming. Tokens deployed across all 10 vaults. Vent algorithms recalibrated to collective quorum. Sabotage became near impossible without multi-species collusion. The toll reverses. Months of stable corridor flow followed. Colonists thrived. Entropy cost minimal. But then anomalies reversed. Some explorers returned younger by fractional years. Plants exhibited backward growth, ripe fruit reflowering. Sensors revealed rift, now exporting neg entropy. Vault crystals saturated, exuding surplus cooling waves that threatened to freeze mantle flows. Echo reappeared, unexpected outside null zone, projecting urgency. System unbalanced, toll polarity inversion. Cause: abyssal dynamo remnants re-anchor beyond choir, bleeding entropy deficit into your corridor. Essentially, the choir's confinement had forced void to draw entropy from alternate dimensions, and the refund leaked via rift, overcharging vaults. If unchecked, negative entropy would inviolate thermodynamics, generating spacetime tears. Solution: create release flutes, devices to vent excess neg entropy into black holes. Earth lacked such gravitational forges. Earn knowledge covered part. Consortium supercolliders finished puzzle. Race began. Build trio of flutes at Hestia Lagrange 2. Feed surplus through wormhole to isolated dwarf BH. During construction, Riftborn Covenant remnants resurfaced, offering assistance. They had studied neg entropy inside their phase bodies and could calibrate flute resonance. Many demanded retribution. Amaya argued inclusion, Charter's spirit. Covenant survivors donned stabilizer rigs. Their expertise cut timeline in half. Flutes activated as vault thresholds peaked. Excess neg entropy channeled into pre-aligned singularity. Observers watched a ribbon of luminous mist stretch from Hestia's moon to starless pit beyond Pluto's orbit, vanishing with silent grace. Vault readings normalized. Epilogue ripple. Years later, children traced star maps showing twin corridors, one to Consortium Heartlands, one to Confederation Rim, both shepherded through human-tended rift. Agriculture boomed. Science rewrote entropy's chapter. Thanatonot core downsized to ceremonial first crossers, ambassadors of mortality's utility. Amaya, hair silver, visited Earth for first time since Eurydice disaster. At Kenya's orbital elevator plaza, she gazed upon murals of River Styx ferry pods, each painted with a motto: "Death is a door, and we learn the handle." Tourists from Craxia snapped photos beside it. In Geneva, she addressed a joint parliament of the compact. "We chased resources and found responsibility. We sought shortcuts and found stewardship. Whatever impossibility waits, another rift, another toll, we will not confront it alone ever again." High Elder Tanya presented her with a medallion forged from first eidolon ingot ever safely smelted. It bore an inverted spiral crossed by 4 staves, symbol not of void but of music. Night fell. Amaya strolled lakefront where old Earth stars glimmered, unchanged. She pressed the faded scar at her collarbone where violet key once pulsed. It no longer glowed. Choir maintenance drones had absorbed its charge and distributed it among polyresonant nodes. That was right. Keys were for opening doors. Once open, they became parts of the frame. Wind carried faint laughter in many languages. Somewhere a cargo ship prepped for transit, its crew a patchwork of species, each ready to die for 90 seconds and live for decades beyond. The impossible challenge remained, but impossibility itself had grown shy, wary of a civilization that greeted death with curiosity and turned cosmic border walls into porches lit for neighbors. And in the far dark, beyond Choir's watch, the void listened, rested, and perhaps, for the first time since creation's cooling, wondered what new verse it might have to sing when next it woke.